And we are live. Did y'all hear the clap?
I heard it, honey. You see me
Thank
working?
you, because
You see
something
me?
was going on with my mic to where the claps wasn't coming in all the way. It sounded like little snaps or little fingers rubbing, like little Wendy's hands was clapping like this or something. But
Well,
now it's
I heard
working
it,
right.
honey. I heard it. And
Thank
Kwan-Yin,
you.
honey, don't pay me no attention, cause I be sometime in my own little world, and I just be doing little stuff.
You
I
know,
promise you, whatever question you have, someone else has it. So let them fly free. I'm not. Don't even worry about it.
in
Do your
today's world,
thing.
honestly, that's called like I think ADHD or something like that. Attention deficit disorder. When you just can't, or just a bad robot. I don't know.
You know, if they had all that stuff out when I was in school, I might have been. Well, no, I never would have been in the special ed class. They would have had me in the genius class, actually, because they say that people that are geniuses, sometimes they're a little quirky, and people think they kind of spaced off, but they're actually
Yeah.
just so smart that you know
You
they just
admitting that
act
you were supposed
weird.
to be in that class. I knew you were supposed to be in there, V. I know you were supposed to be in there, V. But what's so crazy is, and we definitely gonna get to the interview. We're trying to let the eyes load up real quick. But back in the day, they really didn't diagnose all of that. So the mama would just kind of like beat it out of you. She wouldn't even let you be like they would just beat it on out of you. They
I
wouldn't
got a
even let
lot of
you be what you were
whoopings.
supposed to be.
See, I got a lot of
Yeah.
whoopings. I was the middle child.
So when you're in the middle, you just get whooped on.
Well, when you in the middle, you just kind of like be left to your own devices because you ain't the firstborn, and then
Right.
you
Right.
ain't the baby, and
Yeah.
so you become that strong one to just entertain yourself.
Or
And
just be
so,
doing bad stuff.
yeah, sometimes you do bad stuff just to be seen.
So you deserve them whoopings. All of that narrowed down to you
I
deserve
deserve the
all
whooping.
86 of them whoopings you was getting. You would have tried. If you ain't the first child, you ain't the second child. So when I broke the mirror, they took it out on me.
When when I put them 5 tacks in that teacher's chair
Now,
and she
why
sat
why
on
did you
them,
do that? Because you was the middle child.
I didn't really like the teacher, and I was trying to be a class clown.
I understand, but yeah, I would have tore you up for that one. But
Yeah.
we've got Miss Kwan-Yin in here today, and she gonna give us some financial advisory. What's the word I'm looking for? Advice. Seeing both of them together is crazy. Financial advisory advice. So let's get into this, ma'am. So you're from Dayton, Ohio.
Yes. Born in Kettering Hospital. Yes.
Okay. Now, was
Yeah.
you raised out in Kettering, or were you in the inner city?
No, my first 4 or 5 years I was in Dayton, and then I was in California from age 5 to age 12, and then I came back here, and I've been back here ever since. I've been back here since '89.
Okay. So
Wow.
why'd
Yeah.
you have to come back? What made y'all come back?
So my brother came back first, and then I did, and then my mom came back, and so all our family is here. We have like a half a tree here and a half a tree in California, but we missed everybody here.
Oh,
Our first guest that said they were born in Kettering Hospital. I'm
yeah.
used to like Miami Valley, the
Mm.
Samaritan. Okay,
Yeah.
girl.
Okay, I didn't even know they was having babies at Kettering back then.
Right.
Because everybody seemed like they was at Miami Valley or Good Samaritan, no matter the age or anything. So I want to know, like, so you said you've been in, what I'm saying, you said you've been in dating, you might as well say most of your life. So how is
Hmm.
it different now here from when, you know, you was growing up?
Wow, that's a great question. I always think back. So when I grew up the bottom part of Salem Avenue, where all the streets are named after colleges, during
Mhm.
Christmas time, they would decorate their foyer. and we could go in and see how they decorated it, and it looked so nice. And when I tell people that, they were like, over there? I'm like, over there used to be beautiful. Dayton used to have
Yes.
attorneys and doctors and lawyers.
Right.
Everyone wasn't making their money because they worked at GM and Harrison. They
Right.
actually had careers there. And we had two theaters we could go to. We had the Salem Mall, everyone had their little restaurants. It was a beautiful place to be. And
Yeah.
I used to go skating up at Hoover Skating Ring, which I'm surprised is still
Yeah,
open.
they
It's
still
still
going.
open. Man,
Still
talk
look
about
the
last of the
same.
yeah, oh my
Mhm.
gosh. I'm just saying, I used to go there every Saturday. I'm telling you,
Mhm.
because my grandmother lived right across the street from which was Roth. So I went to Roth too.
Shout out
So,
to them
and I used to
Falcons.
walk right up there and go every Saturday. And Dayton used to be all about community and family. We had the community center down. What is that? So Hoover, Gettysburg, down Hoover.
Wesleyan, West,
West, yes, where that
Western
school is
Center.
now. That used to be a
Mhm.
community center, had a pool,
Yep.
and it was like a whole. It was just so different. It was so
Yeah.
different. Everybody knew everybody. It was like a small town in a city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really
And and
was.
and everybody had pride in their neighborhoods back
They
then.
had, yes, they did. Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is totally different.
It's totally
yeah, because
different.
I was gonna say like I was riding down Salem Avenue yesterday, and I was just looking at all the grass. Like nobody's keeping the grass up nowhere. It's just so
Mm.
high. It's like I want to get a group of linemen or women, and let's just go down Salem and cut.
Hmm.
It's an eyesore, and it's like why is
Yeah.
the city not keeping up with that? I thought that was something that the city kept up with.
Well, we lost like a whole generation.
Right.
So I can say my grandmother, that generation was all there, and then her kids, so the baby boomers, they left, but they never came back. They left and they succeeded, which is a great thing to do, but they didn't bring it back home. One, two, a lot of people didn't have a financial education, which is why I do what I do. They didn't have life insurance, which is why I do what I
Right.
do. And so when grandma and them passed away, well, then there was no money to
Right.
keep up the house. Everybody else had already moved. They had their own families, they had their own things going on, and it just dwindled, and nobody could take responsibility.
Yeah. Because you know what? Believe it or not, I still
Ma'am.
live in Residence Park.
Yes, ma'am. That was a beautiful area.
Still
Oh
live
my
in
God,
Residence
Residence
Park.
Park. Yes,
And there are a
ma'am.
lot of houses and homes that used to be occupied by families
Yes.
that are now, just the nursing homes got them. And then once the nursing homes
Yes.
got them, they just aren't kept up.
They're not yeah, that is so true. It is so true. Ooh,
Yeah.
Residence Park used to be the spot. Oh my gosh, yeah.
She
I
told
miss
me
We
all
had
that
the
that.
one.
best looking women.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Look at
I
y'all.
added to that when I came back. I added to that.
Yes.
I know that's right. Now, so why do you think it's important not to get into debt, and what are some things that people should look out for, like, or it's like maybe like car notes and stuff like that? Could you elaborate on that?
Sure. So that is it's the cancer. Okay. It's a cancer of your money because it interferes with your ability to invest, to purchase things outright. Your ability to create income, that is your greatest asset. You are. And if your income is being snatched and eaten up from debt, well, then you can't invest, you can't do the things that you want to do, you can't live, you're just surviving. And so when you are borrowing, it should be we should go back to how our parents and our grandparents felt about borrowing. Right now we'll borrow for a toothbrush, right? If it's a real cool toothbrush and it was had gold all around it, we'll borrow against it, right? But before, you only borrowed if you absolutely had to, because they understood money in your pocket changes
Mhm.
all conversations. And
Right.
Hmm.
debt is the relationship between you and well, let me say it this way. Your credit score is a relationship between you and debt. I owed somebody and I paid them off. I
Mm-hmm.
owed somebody and I paid them off. That's what that's for. But I know wealthy people and they don't talk about their credit scores.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about investing. They
Mm.
talk about investing in real estate. They even talk about investing in crypto. Crypto ain't going nowhere. You just have to
I
be
was
careful.
gonna ask you about that.
You
If
have to be
Mhm.
careful with crypto because it's not being policed. And it's sexy right now because it's not, right? It's like that bad boy. That's what crypto is. Crypto is that bad boy that you think is sexy. It's sexy till punch you in your mouth. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So you got to be careful with it because if that money's gone, it's gone. That's it. There's nobody to regulate it. So crypto ain't going nowhere. You just got to be careful and choose wisely. And I'm not the professional when it comes to crypto. But
Okay, because I was gonna say, how do you know? How can you tell? You know, what I'm saying which ones to.
find a professional who's licensed because there are licensed people, licensed investment people who do crypto. I would
Okay,
find that person first and hear
okay,
what, and then compare what they say to people on YouTube who aren't.
okay. I think that's
That's how
what
I
I
would do that. We losing Aunt V. I hope she can come back.
heard.
But
Mhm.
so back to what I was saying. So that's how I would. That's so when you're borrowing, you have to be careful. Only do it when it's absolutely necessary. If you can pay cash for that car, pay cash for that car. I'd rather you have a good $5,000 car that's running that you love and kiss every day versus a
Mhm.
$20,000 car that's eating $400 and $500 of your money every month and it's depreciating in value. It does it as soon as you breathe on it. But
Right.
that cash that you're paying for it can be multiplying. See, money don't get sick, it don't get tired, it don't die. Its sole purpose is to multiply. And if you don't have a
Mhm.
plan for your money, I promise you there are people out there who do.
Definitely right about there. Bills,
Mhm.
bills, bills, and more
Yes.
bills and loans and collectors. And I was gonna say, who taught you? Were you taught about life insurance in your house? Because I know that was one thing that you um wanted to talk about. Did you taught that as a child, or did that come over time?
I wasn't as far as it needing to be important. You know, my grandmother had it, my great grandmother had it. Excuse me. My mom tells me she grew up in East End Dayton, so she tells me to this day that she remembers the route of the insurance man every week, and great grandma never missed, right? Never missed a payment, but they weren't properly insured. So it's not just having insurance, it's having the right insurance. And the right insurance is term insurance only. You do not want to borrow against your insurance because when you have insurance like whole life and universal life and things of that nature, when you have that with that savings component, it's earning low interest rate, but the interest rate when you borrow against it is even higher than what you're gaining. So if you're getting between 1 to 4, but you're getting charged between 5 and 8, how are you supposed to get ahead?
Right.
So you
But see,
always
that's what
keep it.
people always. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
that's
But
okay.
that's what people always talk about is, you know what I'm saying, borrowing from your life insurance. That's how you can become rich and things of that nature. So you saying don't take out of your life insurance?
Get term insurance. Get term insurance. Always term insurance and have your investments. Keep your insurance, your investments and your investments. That way you know for sure that your family gets both. Now,
Mhm.
where I first learned about life insurance investing was through Dave Ramsey. I'm not trying to pitch him. I don't work for him, but it was at the Salvation Army Rec Center over
Mhm.
where Parkside used to be. You know where I'm talking about, across the street. They were
Mhm.
offering that. They were offering the course there back in 2012, and so I took that because I was married at the time, but I couldn't understand why me and my husband we never had money. It's because we didn't have a plan for our money
Right.
and companies did. And so once I learned that and started really seeing how money really worked, it intrigued me. But I actually didn't get into the financial services until 2019. But when it was introduced to me and the way that it was introduced to me, it has changed my life. You know, I've protected my family, you know, my whole tree is going to be millionaires, and it's because of the things, the concepts that I learned about money, which it isn't hard. 90% of it is making a decision. I'm going to tell my money what it's going to do. It's not going to tell me. And
Yes, ma'am.
then it's sitting down with someone who actually cares about you, cares about your goals, cares about your family, and wants to teach you and navigate you through that versus loading you down with products. And it makes all the difference in the world. Glad you're back, Aunt V.
Y'all, you know what? This is the second time this happened to me. When I was on the conference call with Wu Tang, my
Love
iPhone
them. Love them.
overheated.
Oh,
Yeah. And so now my laptop just overheated.
Be
So
careful with that.
what's going on with that? Well, whatever it is, I rebuke you, okay?
I know that's right.
I know that's right. Now, with you being a financial advisor, do you help people choose like their life insurance? Are you a life insurance
Yes.
agent too?
Yes. Yes. So a lot of people don't understand that life insurance is part of financial services. And it's actually part of the foundation because life insurance should be like any other insurance you have, whether it's auto insurance, whether if it's renter's insurance, it's in case stuff go down. You need to have it,
Mm-hmm.
right? On the
Mm-hmm.
other side of that, while you have your life insurance, it's to protect you from risk. All insurance is the protection against risk. Okay. Then you grow your wealth. Once you've grown your wealth, well, then the question is, do I need the life insurance or do I just want it just in case? Because it creates an immediate estate. So let's say, for example, someone
Mm-hmm.
has $1 million in investments, here and there, and they pass away. Well, if they have a life insurance policy for like, let's say $100,000, well, that creates an immediate estate and their family can get that money faster while they're waiting for, probate to do its thing with the other stuff. Because even if you have a will, you're going to go through probate. It's just a lot easier as long as nobody's fighting because, death changes people.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
right
we
about
know
that.
that. Back
Hmm.
in the day, like my parents and them, they all had life insurance
Yes,
policies.
ma'am. Yes,
And they
ma'am.
had life insurance policies like on like all the kids and
Hmm.
everything. And so, but it doesn't seem like that carried on to the next generation.
It didn't.
Like in my generation, what I did, with me having my job, I had life insurance on my job.
Hmm.
So
Mhm.
I didn't get that supplemental life insurance.
Hmm.
And once my job was done, that life insurance is done.
Sure is. Yeah.
And see, people don't teach us that. So I should
Right.
have had some supplemental insurance that I could have took with me, correct?
You should have had your own insurance that had nothing to do with your job because and it's called group insurance. Group insurance isn't owned by the employee, it's owned by the company. And there's stipulations to whether that family gets that insurance policy. And I know this because I've seen it. And one of the stipulations, and I actually verified when I was still was a nurse because my background is nursing before I changed careers. And one of the stipulations, and it seems to be pretty general, is that you have to be working, or if you're not working for like 5 days, you have to work one day in order for it to be enforced. So we have seen, especially through COVID, we know someone who passed away on vacation. Group
Mm-hmm.
life was not enforceable because they was on vacation. Who died in the hospital, the group life wasn't enforceable because they died in the hospital. Who, even though their company was paying for their life insurance during COVID and they weren't working and they were still considered employed, died of COVID. The company said that it wasn't enforceable because they weren't actively on the job, even though they were considered employed.
So where
But
does this
see,
money go? If people
Wow.
ain't paying.
that's why
I
it's so
did not
cheap.
know that.
That's why it's so cheap. And it's not the company as your job, it's whoever is who who has the actual life insurance company, whoever, whether it's AIG or whoever that is. So one of the things we need to get back into is we controlling our stuff. So Pensions are going away, right? Group
Yeah,
life
they
is not.
gone.
It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
Group life is group life. So anyone who is breathing should have low cost term insurance that they own, that they control through the company, so that you're not going to a middleman. You're going straight to that company. This is what we have. What does this mean? Have them go through the policy so you know exactly what it is that you're getting. One of the reasons why group life has gotten so popular is because it is marketed as an investment. It's not, because the person who's selling it to you is they're not a licensed investor. They're a life insurance agent. And so, you can get $100,000 and you can borrow against, but it's not the face value that you're borrowing against. It's whatever you have in the savings that you're borrowing against. And that takes years to accumulate.
Right.
But they're not walking through. You see, with us, we walk our clients through our insurance policy so that they know what they're getting. And then whoever the beneficiary is, we want to sit down with them so that they know if something happens, you reach out to me. You don't get a 1-800 number, you get me. So, and that's the way it should be.
Wow.
So much of your stuff is
you really schooled me on something,
right? Because that's why I'm all into it. Like, we're gonna need you as a financial advisor.
I'm
here.
As long as you were employed, that was your money,
right?
And that if you died, that your family was hooked up.
I know, because think about it. In order for it to be enforced, the worst has to happen.
Wow.
So someone passes away thinking that their family is taken care of. But they're not.
That's dirty.
It's dirty and it's scary.
Yeah,
it is.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's definitely dirty, man. Mm-hmm. Now, when you say, because you said you want to talk about how you got out of debt. Mm-hmm. Now, did you go to a financial advisor to get out of debt, or did you do it yourself?
So when I first started, I did the Dave Ramsey, and I started that. But I wasn't in it. So they call it being Dave Ramsey-ish, kind of Dave-ish. But when I joined the financial firm that I'm with now, one of the first things they want you to do is they want you to get the company inside of you. So get the life insurance, and one of the things that we also do is get you a plan to get out of debt. Set up that plan. Because how are you going to talk to other people about it and you know nothing about it? You don't know how it feels. It's not in you. You don't have a passion for it. It's just something that you learn. Help your family. So I have my grandson set up. I have my daughter set up. My mom set up. Any cousin set up. And other financial institutions, you can't do that because you can't even talk to somebody unless you got $50,000. But what if you 50,000 in the hole? Ma'am,
how much you got to have to talk to y'all?
You just have to call me.
Just call me. Give me your number.
If you're negative, I don't care if you're $1 million in the hole. I got you, because when I'm done with you, you won't be.
Yes.
So you were saying that in order to invest, that you have to be investing a minimum. I'm trying to plug my phone in.
I like that green dress behind you, whatever that is. That's gorgeous.
I made that.
Did you?
I crochet. And so
it's a crochet one? Oh my God.
Yes.
That's gorgeous.
Patchwork crochet, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. What was your question?
You would have to have $50,000 to invest
with other financial institutions, you have to have a minimum amount in order to talk to them about investing.
Really?
I'm not going to name names, but yes, ma'am. The lowest I've heard has been 50,000. I've heard $250,000 for you to talk to somebody. But most people don't have that. So to me, a big flex is taking somebody who is negative 100,000, getting them out of debt, protecting their family, helping them to invest, and then you created 100,000. To me, that's a flex. Not taking somebody else's 250,000.
That's a blessing for sure. Kudos to that.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
that's a blessing. Because like you said, a lot of people get themselves in debt, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm one that has. I bought the house, the car, things of that nature, because you see it you at the time you may need it and you don't think, well, let me save up to get it, let me do this. You just go
Mhm.
out there and grab it because
Right.
at that time you need it. You know what I'm saying? But you don't think about the long run.
Right.
So that's definitely what people need. And yes, I will be hitting you up.
Right.
Get me
And
out of
there's
debt.
nothing
Get
wrong with
me out of
that.
debt.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad, but there's nothing wrong with being in debt. Don't have debt have you, and don't think you're supposed to be in debt forever.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm trying to do
Have
me.
a plan to be out of that debt as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yes,
See, I
ma'am.
was
Now,
gonna sell
now
crack,
you
but
know I don't have debt. The
Okay.
only debt that I have is my mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm on the back, getting close to the backside
Yes,
of
ma'am.
that. But it seems to work against me just as much. I don't have any credit cards.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't buy things on credit. I was used to putting stuff in the layaway.
Oh, I
And
miss layaways so much.
bring that layaway.
I miss bring back
Bring
layaways.
it back.
yeah,
Please
If y'all listening, bring layaway back.
bring that
but you know
back.
what? It seems that the fact that I don't have debt
Mm.
seems to work against me too.
What do
Why
you
is
mean,
that?
Miss D? What do
When
you
you don't
mean?
have credit, the fact that you don't have
You mean
credit.
your credit?
Okay, so is that what is that's what I mean, I
Yeah,
guess. Is
So
that
you mean like your credit isn't higher?
you don't have
right,
credit at
because
all.
I don't use credit,
Yes,
that
ma'am.
seems to work against me. Why
So,
is that?
well, because your credit score is in direct relation to debt and nothing else. So someone who has no credit means that they haven't borrowed, they don't have any debt. Versus someone with bad credit has some debt and probably paid it late or didn't pay it or things of that nature. So, but if you need the credit to because you want to use it to like open up a business or something of that nature, then I would say come in with cash first. Be like, no, my credit is, this number because I paid off my debt. All I got is my mortgage. I don't have credit cards because I don't play that kind of game. So how much money do I need to have?
But some
Oh,
places won't
okay.
even let you do that. Some places won't let you buy it without credit.
Some
They won't
places
take a
won't.
lump sum of
Some
cash.
that is true. Find another place or learn and I'm going to say it this way, learn what game they playing so that you can play it better. Is it that they want a 90 days same as cash? Okay, so then do that 90 days same as cash and pay that sucker up before the 90 days is up, because on day 91 the interest rate starts from day 1,
Right.
not day 91. It starts from day 1 accumulated daily.
Mm, yes, ma'am.
Unless they say 90 days same as cash and no interest, right?
No interest during that time. You got to
No
remember, they
interest
still want to
during
make
that
their
90
money too.
days. I'm sorry.
They slick. You got to read in between the lines
You got to read
with
that
everything.
small print. And I promise you, that small print is if you don't pay it up at that time, then the interest rate of whatever it is, and also find out what that interest rate
Oh, it
is going
goes
to.
back to day one.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
They
ma'am.
won.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
that's dirty too.
Yeah,
That's
that's dirty.
that is, it's like deceptive advertising.
But it's
Mm-hmm.
there. It's just you need a magnifying glass and go to like page 2 or page 3 of that contract, and it's there and it's enforceable. So my question be for you on B would be, what do you plan on doing with that credit? Because if you don't plan on doing anything and you got a house that's about to be paid for and you don't have no credit cards and you got cash in hand,
Don't worry about it.
don't even worry about it.
I had
No,
thought,
I'm not co-signing no
maybe look.
loans for you. That's what you
No.
tell the family. Oh, I understand you ain't got. No, I'm not co-signing nothing. No, no, no. Go with God.
Go with God for sure.
Let me
Now,
introduce you to somebody that can create a plan for you, so you know what to do with your money.
Okay.
I had a question. This was your question, Avi. So, what if someone is diagnosed with a terminal illness? Is there any options for them for life insurance, or are they kind of out of
Um,
it?
I know it's going to be whole life, and even with that, it's one is going to be very expensive, and two, they're going to have to live for a certain period of time, usually 2 years, for it to be enforceable.
You
Because
said
you got to
whole
remember,
life. What
yes,
is
The
whole
ma'am.
whole
life?
life.
What is whole
Whole
life?
life, that's the one with the term and the savings component attached. Don't like it. We don't get it's not good for the client, but you're talking about somebody with a terminal illness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's if they are approved, and it's going to be very expensive because they know they're going out the door. You got to remember, life insurance is mitigating risk. I don't know when I'm going to die. I don't know if I'm gonna walk out, but if you're terminal, you pretty much got a set area time, like 6 months, 12 months, right? So if that person does not have insurance, and unfortunately, more than likely, they still need to work, what I would do is however much money I can, I will put that aside into account with whoever is going to be doing my funeral and say, this is the money I'm putting in for my burial expense. Because in Dayton, I know for a fact you can have a very nice funeral for like $3,000.
Yeah, with cremation.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is unfortunate, which is why if you are alive and if you are breathing, today is the healthiest that you are going to be. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you
Right.
should have term life insurance, even on the children. And I know that makes people nervous. And the reason to have life insurance on your child is not because you're trying to make money. It's
Right.
because if something happens and they make it to the hospital, that hospital is going to do everything they can to save that child. Every doctor is going to be in there, every injection, machine, whatever it is, they're going to try, they're going to do their best, right? They're still going to charge that family for that. And the only thing worse than losing your child is still needing to pay.
Yeah.
And that life insurance on that child mitigates that. It pays that off as long and as well with the funeral. So at least you don't have to worry about that, because I can't even imagine that myself. I can't even imagine. But I would rather have that in place than have to lose and still have to pay.
So you should get
Okay.
life insurance on your child as soon as they come out.
Mhm. About and it's usually 6. Our company does 2 weeks. If you have somebody else's life insurance, check with them first. Call me because I'm going to get you in something better. Mm. But until you call me, find out what's the age limit, because children, babies die of SIDS.
Yeah.
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 I had a great niece that did. Oh, she was so beautiful, and
Yeah.
you just don't know when that's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine something like that. So yeah.
And they
Um.
can't get knocked, can they? From my bad, I mean they can't
Oh
get
no.
knocked. Say they got life insurance and found out they got a terminal illness. It won't nothing happen to their insurance. It won't go up or nothing like that, will it?
It should not. The only reason, other than if you have an insurance policy that's already going up every year because it's in the policy, that's what it does. Well, then it's naturally going to do that. But it should not go up because you have a terminal illness. If someone has a terminal illness and they have life insurance, I would call their insurance company, find out if they have a terminal illness rider on there, because sometimes we have one that's embedded in all ours, but some companies you pay extra for it, some companies it's already embedded. So if they do, I would reach out and find out if they do and what are the stipulations, because they might be able to get some of that money now.
You know something that I've never understood
Ma'am.
is how, like you said, term
Hmm.
life insurance
Yes, ma'am.
or whole life
Yes, ma'am.
insurance. What is the difference between the two? What makes it a term insurance?
Okay, that's a great question. So I'm going to explain whole life to you in a story. This is how we do it. It's funny and it's interesting. Okay, so who do you currently bank with?
Um, Heartland Credit.
Heartland Credit. Okay. So let's say Heartland Credit sent you a letter and say, hey, Aunt V, we love that you've been a customer for us all these years. We are going to be implementing some changes to our savings account, okay, across the board. It's going to be 4 different changes. We need you to check each box, sign this letter, return it to us, okay? So for the first change, we want you to continue to put money in your savings account. Okay. But for the first 1 to 4 years, the balance is going to be 0. So it doesn't matter if you do online banking, doesn't matter if you walk it in, doesn't matter if somebody gives it to you as a gift. It's going to be 0. Okay. After that, for 1 to 4 years, it's going to begin to accrue interest between 1 to 4%. But every year we will decide what that interest would be. Now, with it being a company who wants to make money, do you think it's going to be a high 4 or a low 1? Just what do you think?
A high 4.
You think it's going to be? What you thinking?
A high 4.
You think it's going to be a 4? I think it's going to be a 1 because savings account right now is at less than 1%. But you guys are nice.
I thought we were talking about like in insurance terms. I thought we was.
Nope, you still tell the story. Keep going. So the third change to the savings is that we know it's your money, but if you withdraw it, that's too long of a word. So we're going to call it a loan, and we're going to charge you anywhere from 5.5% to 8% on whose money?
My money.
Your money in your savings account, right?
Right.
Right. And then the last change is that we know when someone dies, family fight over it. I was the favorite. No, I was. She promised it to me. No, she promised it to me. We went out to dinner, right? But you won't have to worry about that because in the event that you pass away, we're going to keep your money. Now, would you knowingly sign that contract?
You gonna keep it until when?
No, we keeping it.
So that's
would you knowingly sign that?
No, honey, I'd be ready to burn them down.
Exactly. And if you had any of your money in a product like that, would you take it out?
Yes.
Yes. That's a whole life policy. That's the savings component in a whole life policy. But people don't know that. They don't know that their family don't get that money.
Wow.
So the whole time I thought they got it with whole life, and I thought with term, if you outlived your term, then you don't. Nobody gets it.
No. So that's the savings component in whole life. So in every whole life policy is a term. But it's called annual renewable term. It's called ART, which means it goes up every year. Your premium might not go up, but the cost to have that policy will go up. And see, if the agent was worth their salt, they would go over that with their clients, but they don't. So the clients don't know that. And I know that because I've gone over with it with clients who had a whole life policy, and I ain't seen a happy face yet.
Wow.
Now, with a term policy, same amount for however many years, we do up to 35 years. Same amount of money. At the end of that term, within the 3 choices, you could either keep the same amount. It's going to cost more because you're 35 years older, but you don't have to prove insurability. You can decrease it, which means it's going to be less, which is the face value. Or you could say, I have a budget of X amount of money, say $50. How much term policy, how much face value can I get for $50? It just depends. But our goal, and if we do our job at the end of our client's term, they already have an investment, however much the life insurance was for. Because the whole point of the life insurance is to mitigate the risk. So let's say I have a family of 4 in their early 20s and they need $300,000. Okay, so then I'm going to put them in 20s. I'm going to put them in a 35-year term. So that means I have 35 years to get them out of debt, get them investing, at least have $300,000 of investments. So at the end of that term, they don't need that life insurance policy. Our goal is at the end of the term, they no longer need our life insurance policy because it's not supposed to be for your whole life. It's until you accumulate wealth.
Well, honey, that's not what the whole wrong impression of what life insurance is.
Right, I'm over here mouth drop like.
I thought, honestly, now, and I probably sound ignorant, but I think a lot of
No,
people
ma'am.
probably think this. I thought life insurance was to be able that when I die, they don't have any problems, with my
Yes,
final
ma'am.
thing and all of that. And if I have any debt, that it pays off that. And
Yes,
if there's
ma'am.
some left over, then they get that. I
Yes,
thought
And
ma'am.
that's probably
that
why they
was
want
the
to get you out of
purpose
debt.
for life insurance.
It is when you don't have any wealth
This is the
because
world.
they can't afford to pay off your debts.
Right.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, um, our we love Kobe Bryant, right? We loved us some Kobe Bryant. I
Right.
was heartbroken. I was hoping they was lying, right?
Yeah.
So we know he had multi-millions of dollars, right? Multi-millions of dollars. More than likely, he probably had a life insurance policy too, just for the immediate stuff, right? Because his wife wasn't shooting hoops.
Right.
All that stuff was in Kobe's name, unless he had her as survivor. But let's for this sake, let's say he didn't. Everything was in Kobe's name, millions of dollars. She's getting it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they still have to liquidate assets and move this and get stuff in the name. Even though it was all broadcasted everywhere, still got to show proof that he died. Then the government got to get their money because what they lived in California, right? So you got the death tax going on, right? So you
Death
got,
tax.
yeah, luxury tax. Every state has that.
First time.
Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
First time.
every state has that.
Death. You saying DEATH?
Yeah.
Death
It used to
tax.
be called a luxury tax, but yeah, the government gets a little something too. But anyway, so everybody has to
So how
get.
to die? You should be able to die for free.
Well, you
Damn.
was born for free.
Barely.
Don't let them wait. Don't let them get no ideas. Now we born free. We ain't taxed when we born in the United States. Let it go.
You're right.
Take the win. So let's
Lord have
say,
mercy.
but if you think about it, uh, the bills didn't stop for Mrs. Bryant, right? Whatever
Right.
they were still coming. So
Right.
more than likely, he still had a life insurance policy in place to cover that while they took care of all that. So that's what life insurance is for. Now think
And you can
about
have
the
multiple,
famous
right?
people who we do know who didn't have it.
Right. Like your
Didn't
average.
have no money. Now they on ice and we doing GoFundMe's and trying to figure it out. So life insurance has its place, but
Okay.
you don't need it forever. Yeah, he was young when he passed away.
Yeah.
He was young.
So see, mine would have ran out anyway.
Well, that's okay. If you already have the money to handle everything you need to handle.
Lord, let me
So
go get
you
some life
saying to
insurance.
put cash in that policy before those 35 years are up.
Not in a term. Term, you're not building a savings in term. You don't want to. You don't want to build a savings with your life insurance. You want to have investments separate. You want to keep your risk, your investments. Insurance covers risk. You name me a type of insurance, I can tell you the type of risk that is covering.
That makes sense.
Well,
It's like auto
that's it.
insurance. You paying for like it just in case you get in an
In
accident. Just
case
in
you get an
case you
accident,
paying for
especially with
risk.
somebody who ain't got no auto insurance to mitigate the risk.
Home
Now, if your
insurance. You
auto
paying
insurance was like, you know what, we can save up a saving plans for you. Would you be like, wait a minute, but you just cover an auto, covered auto, you leave that alone. So mitigate the risk, keep that separate, build your wealth.
yeah. So, just
Mm.
and what you're talking about investments, what are some things that people should be investing in right now?
So mutual funds are less risky because it's a pool of companies and bonds and things of that nature. Um, and it should keep up with benchmarks. So whether if that's the S&P 500 or the Russell, things of that nature, because those are like the standards. If it's keeping up with them, then they should do well. If they want, and that's just general talking. Um, Now, if you like, I have a plan, I want to do X, Y, and Z, I want to have this money saved in this amount of time, then you want to sit down with a professional. Because depending on what is best suitable for you, then you might want to do managed accounts. You might want to do mutual funds as well. Depending on the situation, you might need annuity, might be better for that person. It really depends on what's suitable for them, what's their objective, what kind of debt that they have, and how long do we have to accumulate it. Because if you tell me you need $1 million in like 5 years, I need to know what you're working with to get you $1 million in 5 years. That's going to be aggressive. That's going to be a lot. So you can't tell me I can do $25 a month. Can you make me $1 million in 5 years? No, I cannot.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think that what about art? What about investments in like art and gold and things like that? Or do you think it should just be that's on the side, but mostly invest in mutual funds?
When it comes to, so those are specific, those would be single things. I would say go with what you love, what your passion for. Like your passion is radio and TV, right? So you know the ins and out of that.
Yes, ma'am.
So for you, I would say look at stuff like that. If you know somebody who's a gamer, they know like all the names of all the games, who's coming out with what, the companies that are backing it, who's making it, then I would tell that gamer type person, look into stuff like that. Like me, I'm in the medical stuff, so I know medical jargon. I know where. So if I was going to do single stuff and pounce on somebody like that, then I would go do medical stuff, or I would do music because I love music. So it's stick with what you love.
And I say medical, I feel like would be on top, especially with everything that's going on. Wouldn't that be like one of the like top things to invest in right now?
In mutual
like
funds, yes. If you don't know what it is, no, unless you plan on doing the research. A lot of people don't do the research. I had a friend say, but if you're going to do your due diligence and do the research, then okay, if you want to look into cannabis, look into cannabis, but where? And I'm not into cannabis, but I know there's different types. I know that's in different states. I know there's different qualities, and I know you got the different forms. Everybody who's doing the dry leaves aren't doing the essential oil type. So you got a whole and now I'm already lost. That's all I know, which is why I wouldn't go into cannabis.
Right. So invest in something
Now you asked me about, Briscoe Meyer and, Phillips and because I know where to go to find that stuff because I'm used to that, medical equipment, things of that nature. Then, okay, then if I want to branch out and do that. But the first thing I would do is I would get mutual funds and I get managed accounts because those are people who have spent years in money forecasting, analyzing, and it takes them years in order to get in a position to do managed accounts, to be trusted, to put a portfolio together. See, they've done all that. All I need to do is put the money in there. So, yeah.
And where could we find like this kind of stuff? Like if we're doing some research, where would be some places that we should look for investment?
For just investments, period.
Yeah, like
like if you wanted
watch stock on CNN, they watch the numbers go up and down on that. Like where should somebody start to even get information? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
Start with a professional advisor because they're going to ask you questions to narrow down what is it you're looking for and why are you looking there versus somewhere else. Okay. That's part of that investing with your head. Versus headline. If you like, well, I'm afraid I'm gonna lose my money if gold or with the gas, because everything is going to go up and down. Everything has the cycles. Everything on this planet, God has created to have cycles, up and down. Okay. So what you want is to sit down with someone like me who's going to narrow down the field of what exactly is it that you're looking for. And then we can go from there. What are you looking for? How much time do you have? Are you in debt right now? Because you being in debt really affects the type of investing you can do if your investor cares about you. Because if you think about it, if you have, let's say you're spending $2,500 a month in debt, which is about average. That's not really hard to do. Just in debt. Imagine being able to use that same amount of money to invest.
Yeah.
That's the reason it's so important to get you out of debt. I can get you started on some investing where you don't feel like it's a strain to you, because if it's a strain to you, where you're not going to keep it up, you're going to be pulling the money out. So let's mitigate your risk with our low cost term insurance. Let's get a plan together to start getting you out of debt. And then let's start looking at these investments. Let's start with an emergency fund, which is something everybody should have. Should have an emergency fund anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000, depending on your situation. If you're renting, I'd say about 1,000, 1,500 tops. So, that's like 4 new tires. That's, you might need a new engine, something like that. Because if you're renting, your refrigerator goes up, you calling somebody, right? Versus if it's your house, refrigerator goes up, you calling you. Right. So that's how that's right. So that's how that range is. So you get that emergency fund, then it's no longer emergency. It's just, I had to buy some new tires today, versus, oh my God, where am I going to get the money for these tires?
Okay.
So once you get that emergency fund set up and you got your low cost term life insurance in place, now let's get a plan together to get you out of debt. Let's get all your debts together. Let's put that together. Now you're starting to get out of debt. Okay, so let's start investing. Let's start with $25. Let's start with $50 just to get you in the habit of doing it. Because it's all about creating that habit. Once you're used to that money, because if you think about it, we can blow $25 going to McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't hard.
It ain't hard now.
2 adult meals, you out $22. You out $22. And you didn't even large size it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy that's that you not having a plan for your money comes in. McDonald's got a plan for your money, I promise you.
Right.
So, let's start with $50 a week, a month, or let's start with $100 a month. Create that plan. And then once you're out of debt, now all that money that you were fueling to pay everybody, now you can pay yourself and you feel great about it. So let's say you done freed up $2,500. Now you could be putting that $2,500 a month in your investment. But I ain't crazy. If I got an extra $2,500, I want to kind of live my best life. So let's just say you're doing half. Okay, so at least now you got half of that investing. You'll still be in a better place than if you never did it at all.
Yeah.
And so that's the plan with each and every one of my clients.
So how would somebody get in touch with you to hire you, to maybe call you for some advice? Or?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm on Facebook and I use my whole name, Kwan-Yin Nixon. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on IG. You can find me on LinkedIn. I have a YouTube page which is called The Wealth Wonder. And my number is 513-445-8534. That's my direct line. And my cell phone number is 937-520-3763. You can call me anytime. I would love to serve you.
Now, on your YouTube page, do you start from the beginning, as far as helping people with their financials? Is that what your YouTube is about?
I will be. I have a couple of videos of me, and then I have some videos like putting a plan together, basic steps to doing things like that. And I'll be adding to it as I get more comfortable and used to doing it.
You taught us some stuff today. I'll definitely be.
I learned some stuff, honey. I was ignorant.
I'm glad. That's all right. We all are, because if you think about it, it's not taught in high school. And I've been in high schools recently. They teach you how to be comfortable with debt. They teach you how to fill out tax form. They teach you how to fill out an employment form. They don't even teach you how to be in business for yourself. They teach you how to follow somebody else's dream, but not how to create your own.
Oh,
So of course they're not gonna teach you how to be out of debt.
we need that. We
Yes,
need
ma'am. Yes,
that.
Maybe
ma'am.
you should start that. Maybe you should start that school.
You know,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know. Hey, say
You know your
less.
stuff.
We speak.
Yeah.
We done spoke it now.
You done spoken now. Yes, I would love to. I would love to. That would be amazing.
We definitely appreciate this opportunity. You know what I'm saying? You
Yes.
talking to us today, teaching us about the financials. I hope people go back and really listen, especially people who have their life insurance, because
Yeah.
that's something you need to know. You know, especially because all of us are going to have to leave one day. And if you have a family, you definitely don't want to leave them with your debt. So, you
Right.
know, check that
And
out.
you
get
want to
that
be able to
information.
bury them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, don't have us
We
on the
had some that and the funeral homes don't play. If you
They
don't give them
don't.
all their money, you're not having a service. I thought you could go on a layaway plan. No
No.
money. So
No.
yeah.
Well, how long do they hold you for?
You know what? Wait a minute. Down there where Kimberly is in New Orleans,
Yeah.
they let them go ahead and make payments and go ahead and bury them. And if they don't finish them payments, they dig them up, honey.
No.
Hold them hostage until you finish paying their money. Now these funeral homes up here won't even do the service.
You won't have the service. I know you won't have the service. You won't have your service or your family member. I know that much.
Right.
What they just throw them in the fire? What they just throw them in the fire if you don't?
Daddy always said we needed to be either in Texas or get us a funeral home.
Funeral home.
They always in business.
It's job security.
Yeah.
It's job security. Coming here ain't guaranteed, but leaving here is
It's
100%.
Definitely guaranteed.
100%.
Wow, yeah, they smart. It's been great, ladies.
Yes.
And we gonna be out.
Everybody have a great Labor Day.
God bless you guys. Be safe and reach out to me. I love to serve you.